Y'all, when I say this was me the whole time Nikki was walking down that aisle towards Shawn to meet him there, because I was like, oh, this ain't gonna work. This ain't it. This ain't gonna be good. Nikki girl, I know you were questioning some things in your mind in that moment, but let me just let you know you were not being punked, okay? You were not being pranked. Oh, it was for real. That's your man, girl. That's your man.
Like it's delirium, ay, ay, like it's delirium, ay, I got delirium, ay, like it's delirium, yeah, yeah, like it's delirium. She just wanna bounce to it, baby, get your giddy on. Walk up to the stage with a drink like I'm Giveon, but I never came here to sing what I'm really on.
What's going on, y'all? It's your girl Taina B here, and welcome to my chat party. If you're here to join me for a little bit, a lot of bit, fast me early, fast me late, to hear my little thoughts, my little views, my little opinions on Married at First Sight season 20, episode number 2. I appreciate y'all so much from the bottom of my heart. I hope y'all get comfortable, relax, chill, get subscribed, join the party, share with a friend, get on the dance floor, make your comments, hit the like button. Because again, listen, if I'm seeing other folks getting these subscribers and all these views and all this other stuff, y'all can help a little sister out this way, okay? But a super salute and shout out, heavy DJ shout out to the people who joined my new party peeps, the chat party from my last video by hitting that subscribe button. I see y'all. Thank y'all. It is all love, and I appreciate you so much for showing me some love and taking a chance. So I hope you get comfortable here. I hope you'll enjoy it here. I hope we chop it up here, have us a good time, and get into it. All right. So, with that being said, y'all, we got a lot to talk about. I will say I still will encourage you guys, if you haven't seen it, to just go back and watch these episodes, because there is a lot to catch and a lot you don't want to miss, but it's just too much that we can't really get into all of it here, because that'll be way too much time. But anywho's, what we're gonna do is pick up where we left off, and that's with Marissa and Adam. And remember, they know each other already at the altar, and we were scratching our heads like, okay, how come, where, why, when, what happened, what's the scoop? And so the story goes that they met at a bar a couple of years ago, and he approached her because he thought she was beautiful. They exchanged numbers but never had a chance to talk because they were too busy. And so he's actually excited to see her at the altar, which I guess that's my bad. I was wrong then, because I felt like some of his faces were giving, yeah, nah, I don't want to do this. And it still could have been that, right? He still could have been putting on the front, or it could have been editing by producers, or again, I could have just been wrong. And so they exchanged their vows. And sidebar, when I tell you, one of her, one of her bridesmaids are still cracking up on the side of that fireball. I love it. I just can't. And so, anyways, they kiss. They're married. But I'm still worried about Marissa in this moment, because in my mind is that laundry list of rules that Adam has, and the fact that he may be controlling. They're chatting about his family not being there and the gifts that they exchanged. And I love her face when she asked him how he liked the fireball. And he was like, I don't drink. Okay. And you could tell her mind, she was like, wait, what? Okay, so you don't do what now? I'm sorry, what was that? Come again? And it seemed that might have touched her soul, in my opinion, more than his parents not being there. But nevertheless, they're laughing and whatnot. And I'm thinking, okay, y'all, well, enjoy it while it lasts. Over at Tori and Felipe's wedding, they're catching up at their reception. The speeches are given. And although Tori's sister's speech was short but yet so sweet, I was so here for his sister then getting up in her speech and saying that Tori was stuck with his laugh forever. That that I told y'all about, okay? I said thank you. So I wasn't crazy for noticing, okay? I wasn't. And actually, somebody let me know before even Tori's sister said, or Felipe's sister said it, that I wasn't crazy. So DJ shout out to, is it Magnolia B928. All right, because she hopped in the comments and was like, girl, I wouldn't be able to do that laugh. Okay. And then whatever else she said. I just remember in that moment loving the comment. I was cracking up. So shout out to you, Magnolia. But his sister's speech was sweet as well. And she also mentions in there that if Tori could only deal with his laughs, or that not only if Tori could deal with his laughs, but his dance moves as well, because he's a dancing machine, then there'll be good money. And I already told you on the last video, I love music and I love to dance. So for the fact that his sister keeps placing emphasis on this dancing situation, I'm like, I want to see his moves. So maybe we'll be able to get to see that. On the other side of celebration, we're at Bel Jolie and Mecca's reception. Well, Bel Jolie is talking to Macaroni Tony, aka Mecca's dad Logic. And out the gate, he wanted to know what was up with that cheek kiss. All right. And so she lets him know she didn't want Mecca to feel embarrassed by that. But we learned through the brief exchange, Macaroni Tony is a principal, which I would have never guessed. I don't know about y'all, but he definitely doesn't give principal. But I said at the same time, he's probably a super cool principal. But he wants to know her scale rating on Mecca from 1 to 10. She confidently says a 9, and his dad is impressed by that, gets all hyped or whatever. And she thinks Mecca is cool and loves his personality. And I like Mecca's dad because he seems like he's just real down to earth, you know? And I feel like he'd be a great father-in-law, like one of those father-in-laws you can talk to about anything. So I think this is really good for her, especially considering she didn't have her dad. Nice feeling for sure. And so Mecca's checking in with his groomsmen and their thoughts on the cheek kiss. And one of the guys says, I felt like she did the right thing. And I'm like, thank you. Talk some sense back into this man because I'm so mad they keep, or he allowed his dad to put in his mind this whole situation with the cheek kiss, like, if you get that, then you going to hell. It's all craps from there. She ain't interested. So anyways, the other friend thinks that they're a match made in heaven. They throw out the potential of being in the suite together and what might go down or what might not go down for the night, and his groomsmen tell him, look, don't have any expectations. And so Mecca, I'm gonna tell you, I can answer that question for you. Ain't nothing going down in that suite. Okay, it is just not tonight. Anyways, I think they're good looking together, y'all. I really do, and I think they'll have some fun moments. But I just and shout out to Vibe, Spence. What's the new name? Vibex? I don't know. Shout out to you, my guy, for making your comment and just kind of asking, like, so do I not like Mecca? And it's not that I don't like him. I do. I do. I kind of feel like I need to learn a little bit more about him, right? So he's in the middle for me, I guess, right? Like I don't really have anything bad to say. I think I like them more as a couple together than me having to judge him individually because I just think he's probably going to be a lot. I just keep seeing him doing the most. That's my only qualm, but we'll definitely see. I still feel like she's just going to get tired of that after a while. Like he's really not going to know when playtime is over. Even I remember a moment when her mom gave a speech, and we'll get to that, which I don't really get into the details of the speech, but it's like even then she's being serious and he's like, okay, okay, or whatever he was doing. I'm like, dude, stop. Like, just stop. So that gets exhausting after a while, but we'll see. Okay, we'll see. Um, Correction, y'all. Also, I will say my fault in the last video. I was calling Dr. Lisa Dr. Liz. I wrote that down one time and then took it and ran with it. I don't know where I thought I saw Dr. Liz at, but I was wrong. So my fault. I'm always open to correction with love. If I say something wrong, you guys let me know and catch it. So hopefully I didn't confuse you guys at all in the video, but I'm sure I didn't because you guys are hip to the game and know what time it is and who's who. I'm sure by now anyway. So Dr. Paul and Dr. Lisa are now getting Courtney and Nick prepared. And Courtney is a 28-year-old program manager. She's also into bodybuilding. Nick is a 31-year-old product manager. And I'm like, them with these similar titles for people across the board. I'm like, is everybody just in the same field or is this was the easiest way to just throw certain titles up? But anyways, they do the individual desires of what both want in their partners. And I thought it was funny how when talking politics, Nick said he was like on the liberal side, but he can be a little conservative too. And they got that question from production that he wasn't expecting when they asked him to give them an example of both, and this dude literally got stuck, and you heard crickets and silence and nothing else in between. I was like, okay, now, Nick, now, did you understand the question? Did you not? Do you know what they're even talking about? Like, I just cannot. I said, you know what? Did you just say what you just said because it sounded good and you ain't know what the he was talking about? I just want to know. Anyways, we go on. Nick says he's not a cheater, although Courtney says she has been cheated on. So that's good that he'll give her that stability there. That's an important thing. And her biggest fear is that someone will leave her and not love her forever. Dr. Paul taps into Courtney believing she's a compelling person and worthy of love because he feels like she lacks that. And Nick shares that he's been on quite a few reality shows. I said, oh Lord, and that's going to be a thing later on, but has been serious about finding love. So Dr. Paul ends up telling him that he's found him a match, and Nick gets pretty emotional, to which we learn that Nick is overall just an emotional guy, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a man being in tune in that way. And I think that's a great thing, right? A lot of times we see that that's not promoted enough for males and being able to express themselves, because a lot of them are raised and brought up with the fact that, you got to be tough. Men don't cry, right? Bunch of crock a bull. Are men humans? They are. So you got to feel. Okay. I ain't talking about, every 2 seconds you crying, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so we're now at Nick and Courtney's wedding day, and he's catching up with his groomsmen. They're wondering if Courtney will notice him from reality TV, and he's like, I don't think so. And his worst case scenario, he said, is that he'll be obsessed with her, but she really won't be that into him. And so Nick's dad comes through and shows him some love. Courtney, she's with her bridesmaids feeling good. So now we're at the ceremony, and once Nick comes down the aisle, he gets some cheers. And Courtney's sister say he's looking like Tom Brady up in this okay? Which she didn't say that part, but I did. And I said, oh, yes. So we can absolutely tell that she was pleased. And I think that Tom Brady is a good looking guy for sure. Ooh, especially with that dimple, y'all, that he has in his chin. I love that so much. He is definitely a dream. But when I also say, for me, Nick is not giving Tom Brady, it's he's not giving Tom Brady. Now y'all can let me know if y'all saw with the sister store. I certainly didn't. I do think that Nick is good looking. I do think he's cute, and I think he has a bright smile. But I said Tom Brady, nah, I don't see it. Okay. Anywho, so sidebar: someone makes a comment about Courtney's mom coming out like she's ripped. I'm like, exactly right. And is okay. She like she will lay you on your back quick. So try her if you want to. I would suggest you do not. But anyways, now before Courtney walks down the aisle, she says again that her biggest fear is that her partner is not going to want to stay. So now at this point, I'm like, okay, girl, now you done said this one too many times for me. What is going on with that? What is going on with the real you? Is that what it is? Because it's like it very well may not have anything to do with you, but my curiosity is sparked because you just keep saying that. So, and it's one of those things where we've been paying attention, right? And I know y'all have, to certain things that these people are saying, where you're just like, oh, hold on, I got to take note on that, right? Because that might be an issue later on. It's just one of those things. But again, we'll see later down the line. And so she walks down the aisle. Nick sees her and he seems pleased. She tells him he looks great. He tells her she looks beautiful. They exchange vows, and I enjoyed what they both have to say. And I thought it was absolutely adorable when they got to the part where they had to kiss and one didn't know what to do and the other didn't either. And they're kind of stuck and trying to go in, but trying to pause because it wasn't quite time, but whatever. And I even loved how he kind of blames it on her wanting the kiss or whatever. So just a fun moment. But they end up, now officially being married. They have their one on one catch up time. And I like how they're vibing. But again, know we know all of this stuff is subject to change because the hits the fan, because we definitely saw her in the previews to come going off on that when they're all in a group session. So I'm like, whoa, what in the world? It's funny how these situations are going to change like they always do, right? That's no surprise, but I'm just like, yeah, what's really going to be going on? But anyways, next up we have Michelle and Cameron. Cameron is a 34-year-old program manager. Here we go with them similar words, or those same words, not even similar. And we learned that Michelle apparently had fibroids, so she had to freeze her eggs, and she gets choked up and emotional about it. You can tell that she really wants to have kids, and it's such a endearing moment for me because I feel like I've known quite a few people to have to deal with these difficulties in pregnancy, and I always hate when women have to deal with that because childbearing for women who actually want children, that's a serious thing, right? And that's a special thing. um and it's what we feel like we almost in a sense have the ability or are created to do, right? Like I said, if that's in fact what you want to do and what you care to do. And so it's just kind of sad to hear. I haven't been through any experiences where I've had difficulties, thank God for me, but I do have a cousin, like I said, well, a couple of people, but I'm thinking of my cousin in particular because her baby's super fresh out. who had many difficulties in her pregnancy, and she never gave up. And obviously, that's the key, right, you guys? And sometimes it's easier said than done. Sometimes you might have to even take a break, and that's okay, but get back to it. If you want to really hold that baby, that special gift that you desire, you cannot give up on yourself with that. Keep going, keep shooting for the stars. It will happen for you. I promise that you will, because now my cousin has her beautiful baby boy. And when I tell you, so what was it? Just in a few more days, the 20th, he'll be 3 months old. Okay. And she couldn't be more over the moon. And you don't want to miss that feeling ever in life if that's what you desire. So go after it, y'all. Don't give up on it. But anywho's, I digress. Let me move forward. Definitely probably lost my spot. But anyways, here we go. So Dr. Lisa says with Cameron, she said he's him. So in other words, Cameron apparently is that guy. Okay. And he's never been in a long-term relationship, but I'm still a little concerned about that, because it's like, then if that's the case, how are we hopping straight into marriage? Don't we need a little bit more practice and learning what the long term could look like? And maybe not, but I'm like, okay, I guess. And so Michelle's just ready to be done with the single life. And I can understand that, because I heard it's real ashy in these streets. Get the stories all the time on both sides, y'all. You would think that it would be a lot of the women talking about ashy men, but no, y'all, I've definitely heard the opposite as well. Like the women out there could be a little ashy too. I don't know. When I tell you, I'm just happy that I don't have to deal with it, I ain't got to deal with it. But anyway, the wedding day is here. I'm so tempted to call Cameron Cam, so it may slip up at some point in time, and it does later on. I usually take my notes as I'm watching, like as I go. So anyways, he's chatting with his mom, dad, and his sister, and immediately when mom said she asked his friends why Cameron didn't have anybody, and they said because he was too picky, that's another antenna going up for me. I was like, oh, well, sir, that explains why you ain't have no long-term relationships, because you was over there always trying to find something wrong or finding something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. Apparently, the women probably were never good enough for you. Anyways, his sister said she's only seen him with like one or two girls. I'm like, yikes. Meanwhile, for like me and my brother, I saw my brother go through like 60,000 girls before he finally settled down and got married, but I digress again. And so Michelle's catching up with her family. Who was that? Her mom, her aunt, and her brother. She says her dad is private and he's camera shy, so he's not going to be there. He writes a letter instead. She moves by, and excuse me, she's moved by it and she gets emotional. We'll also find out too that later on her dad actually was there, so I guess maybe he just didn't want to be there for the ceremony itself, or maybe in that moment in the room, but either way, or he ends up still being there. So it's ceremony time. Cameron walks down and Michelle's family approves. Super cute, because I hear her mom like, we can approve. Very cute. And Michelle comes in on a horse and carriage looking beautiful. And when I tell you those dimples are deep, Michelle got some deep dimples. So DJ, shout out to all y'all, all my party peeps with the dimples. Stand up. Okay. What a good look that is. Love on my husband. He definitely has them like deep for sure when he smiles. I love dimples. Always having my mom has beautiful dimples too. Definitely missed that mark. Like I got to do a little for you to see a little something, and even that's forced. But anyways, we talk about the folks with the natural dimples. Stand up. Anyway, so he turns around and tells her she looks amazing and beautiful. She tells him he looks amazing. They exchange vows. They kiss. They're married. We're now Marissa and Adam's reception, and Adam's bridesmaids gives her lighthearted, excuse me, Marissa's bridesmaids gives her lighthearted speech to include naps, which are not optional. And I'm like, oh, he ain't gonna like that again. And the whole mac and cheese situation, I'm like, let's just do one favor. Let's do us all a favor. Let's just not even bring up the macaroni and cheese, because little do y'all know that's about to be a whole problem. And I still feel like Adam's giving looks in there where he's not impressed. And I feel like those wheels in his mind are spinning. And she says, your life may be filled with this, that, and the third. To which Adam says, oh, I can't wait. And they cheers. And I'm like, yeah, you can't wait to switch that all up and change the game for her with your rule book. But of course, he has to show off his piano skills. I tell you, if Nick would have been there, Nick would have had some words. I know it. And can I just say again, please put me at the table, her bridesmaids. Please, when I tell you, those are my kind of girls, because her one friend is just cracking up and she can't even stop. She can't help herself and she's laughing at him playing. And I get that sense of humor because it's giving like what's going on here? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we still doing this? Oh, we're doing this again. I would have been done. And then also, I often feed off of other people's like giddy energy, oh, I would have been done. Okay, it would have been a time. But anyways, so the moment I've been waiting on, I don't know about y'all. Whoa. And I didn't even know it was the moment I was waiting on. The moment I've been waiting on, the pairing of Shawn and Nikki. Let's take a quick pause, y'all. Let's take a quick pause. Like, I need a second. Oh my gosh. When I tell you, I just, yeah, I wasn't ready initially. Okay. I got myself together, but initially, wow. So let's get into it. Nikki is a 46-year-old HR leader. Shawn is a 48-year-old college VP of administration. Do y'all think he favors Pastor Cal like I do? Y'all definitely hop on the dance floor and let me know, because there was even a comment in there when he's listing the things that he does and or his backstory or whatever. He's like, yeah, and I even grew up with my dad being a pastor, and I was like, your dad being was Pastor Cal your daddy? Was that your father? A pastor is in Pastor Cal. So I'm gonna leave it alone, y'all. I know I done said that already, but I just can't get over how much they favor and look alike. But anywho's, at first glances, based off of how they both present, I was thinking they might be all right together. Looks like they could have some same level of etiquette or polish to them. They're articulate in how they speak. But we see them too later on in the season, and she's not failing him. And not that it's a surprise to us at this moment. We do off the rip, right? If you know anything, and we could all collectively know something together. I have a strong conviction and feeling that we all knew she wasn't going to be feeling him. But anyways, so can't wait to see her thoughts at the altar. That's what I was feeling in that moment as I'm taking my notes. And he's short, but he loves him a tall woman. Now she wants a tall man, so I was like, oh shoot, here we go. But and however, she does say that she's also met amazing men who weren't as tall. So I was like, okay, whew, child. And I was nervous, y'all, because I was thinking she gonna hurt his feelings and she gonna hurt his feelings bad. But anyways, can we talk about the financial income of it all? Her income is between 250,000 and 350,000, probably just light work for her, right? And Dr. Paul asked her, well, what kind of income are you looking as relates to your partner? She says a smooth 250,000. He was like, excuse me. Do you know what the average salary is today? Like, hello? And he was like, it's $64,000. And so from there, somehow we get into her being willing to be open to her guy making 200,000. I was like, okay, and that's supposed to be an improvement. Okay. I mean, I guess, right? I guess we see where Shawn said he's comfortable with what he's making. And I'm like, is it 200,000 though, sir? My man. Because if not, you in danger, boy. You in danger. Anywho's, wedding day is here, and I'm as scared as the Dickens. She gets her gift from him, but reads the card first and gets so emotional. And I hope she remembers all of this when she sees him, because this is what primarily it's supposed to be about, right? I'm not going to front. You absolutely want to be attracted to your partner, but everybody's story doesn't go that way right at first sight when you see them. But these are the things that can make them attractive. You know, how he pours into you, right? Like he's doing in this moment before he even meets her. And he gives her a nice chain and pendant with the initials and their wedding date. She cries even harder. Again, I'm like, girl, keep that same energy when you see him. That's all I'm saying, okay? Because you're going to need it. You're going to need something to pull from to keep you together. And sidebar, it was for me the matchmakers knowing that she probably wasn't gonna be feeling him, but still having hopes. I'm like, okay, well, at least they're honest, but I get what they're doing, right? At looks, putting like I can see where they're going with this and why they want to try to make this a situation that will work, right? But good luck. So, anyways, we're back to Michelle and Cameron's wedding. Michelle's catching up with one of his buddies, and look, his buddy calls him Cam. So I'm like, all right, well, at this point, I'm going to start calling him Cam. And he's going hard at how Cam was at basketball, like just really good and like just straight up promoting his skills. I'm like, listen, I'm not mad at a friend who's a genuine cheerleader of another friend when that friend is not around. Love it, here for it. As the young people say, what, clock it, if I'm even doing that right, okay? And so he also has played with Steph Curry, which I love. I'm into basketball. I have a couple of favorite teams. I don't have one set favorite team. Well, no, let me not say that. I've always said my set team is the Golden State Warriors. So shout out to my boy Steph Curry on that one. We get to Bel Jolie at her wedding, and she's talking to her peeps about how Mecca ate her up with those looks. So clearly, he really is into her. And excuse me, she really is into him. Not that we didn't know that, right? Obviously, we see that now, but I feel like in my very first video, when they first woken up, I didn't know. Like, I kind of had an idea, but it's just very obvious and apparent for me. It went over my head initially. I'll say that, how attracted she was to him. And so Macaroni Tony gets up to give a speech, and I said, "Oh Lord, somebody done passed Tony the mic. Like, why?" But I knew it was gonna be cool. I knew we were gonna be good because he's just a cool dude, and it was a fun speech. And so mom gets up there. She also gives a beautiful speech. And this is what I'm telling y'all, but he just couldn't even, like, Mecca couldn't even be serious. I mean, he didn't ruin the speech or anything. But again, it's like, dude, just sit there, be still, and just listen. You ain't got to make no jokes. You ain't got to make no faces. Just chill out. Anywho's, I'm curious to know why her name is Violent. um, what the story is behind that. Like, who named you and why? But I said at the same time, maybe she just told the producers to play with us, right? Maybe she was like, just put Violent in there. I mean, Violent, and just, we'll just mess with people's head because that's kind of crazy. But anywho's, back at Felipe's wedding, he shares a dance with his leading ladies. So one with Tori, one with his mom. And I just love the warm embrace again that Felipe's mom and Tori share. They had a couple of moments like that throughout their night, and also just the sweet words that are being exchanged between them. And I mean, listen, I be wanting to work for these people, y'all. I do. I really, really do. But it just ain't. Like, we know it ain't. So, I mean, or will it? I don't know. But they start having a good time on the dance floor. Though I really don't get a chance to see Felipe's moves for real, but maybe later on, right? Since he's a dancing machine. So at Nick and Courtney's wedding, I said, not his twin brother in his speech saying Nick loves the spotlight. I said, DJ scratched the record. Like, whoa, because that caused Courtney's antenna on her own to go up. And she's like, okay, what's his end game then? I was like, girl, mm, great question. Way to be alert. Okay. And y'all, I'm back to being nervous because we're back at Nikki and Shawn's wedding, and she shares a nice moment with her mom, and so does Shawn. I think Shawn's mother looks fabulous. Another one aging beautifully, you can tell, and he even compliments her and said she looks like the queen from Bridgerton, which he was meaning to say Queen Charlotte. And listen, if you know, you know, then you know that you know. Queen Charlotte is that deal. Mwah, chef kiss. She's that deal on screen and off the cameras for sure. Great show. Anyway, so he walks down the aisle and someone says he's handsome. And I'm like, yes, yay. Okay. So thank you. Please. There's hope. Please. And he's the only groom to actually go over to the bride's mom and shakes hand and introduce himself. And I was like, thank you, Shawn. Show them how it's done. That's how you do things in a classy way. Very classy. But I love the energy he's given to his fam too, because it's showing that he can be together, but he also, has personality to him. And so I'm like, Shawn might be all right. Again, he's got intelligence, personality, knows how to put his word together. We'll see. And then I hear like that Jaws music, like da 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 da. Nikki comes walking down the aisle. And y'all, when I tell y'all, it's at this point, right? Because oh me, oh my. I was so scared, you guys. To the point where I froze. I didn't even take any more notes after this. Like I just couldn't because I was like, oh my gosh, this is about to be scary. This is about to be bad. And I felt like she was gliding down the aisle and just in her glory. And she's waving and she's, hey y'all, and blowing kisses in it there. I said, girl, wait till you get all the way to that altar. Because maybe you can't see him good from where you are right now. But she gets up there, y'all. Tell me why she's saying hello to everybody but him. I mean, and he's like, hello. And she's just like, hi. I'm like, girl, your man in front of you just said hello. You're going to acknowledge that the man is there? It was in that moment I said, oh my gosh. And she looked nervous as all get out. She's looking around like, is this for real? Even asks, what she say? I think, what did she say? What did she, something like, am I supposed to stand here and wait for my husband? I said, oh girl, no, because that's him right there. That's him in that brown suede tux jacket. That's him right there. Okay? You are not being pranked. Oh my gosh, y'all. She was over it. Shawn had to even tell her to breathe. I said, oh my gosh, this is bad. I literally had my hand over my mouth the rest of the credits rolling and everything else, y'all, I was stuck. I said, "Oh, this is going to be bad. I hope this lady does not say anything crazy. I hope this lady does not turn around and walk off." I was thinking maybe she wouldn't walk off only because we didn't see a preview of somebody walking off. Oh Lord, but this is y'all, this is scary, okay? And that is how it ends on that cliffhanger. I said we are in for the ride. So, anyways, y'all, the music is on, the dance floor is lit. Don't be no prude and hold up the wall. You have got to hop on the dance floor and let me know if you were clenching and clenching your butt together like I was, because I was so nervous, like, oh my gosh, and my heart racing too. The way I even sat there with secondhand embarrassment, like, oh my gosh, what is she gonna say? Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Like, wow, what did y'all think? Please tell me what y'all think about anything. It doesn't matter. Please let me know. Okay, I thought this was a great episode for sure, and can't wait to get into the next one. Okay, because yeah, we're it's going to be interesting. But anywho's, y'all, hope this video found you in good spirits. When I tell you I've been going through it, I felt like I've been on an emotional roller coaster for the last couple of months, but I am hanging in there. I let it rip when I need to let it rip. I release when I need to release, y'all, because it's just good to just let things go. It's just part of healing. It's just part of pushing towards greater and better. So if y'all are having some days out there, be encouraged. We'll do this together. This is why I show up too, because I hope I can show up and put a smile on somebody's face. But at the same time, I feel good even in this moment being able to chat with y'all and being able to even record this video. It takes my mind off of things and it just makes me feel good. All right. So it's all good, y'all. It gets better. We're going to stay up and we're going to make it somehow, some way, one day at a time. All right. So giving y'all social hugs, squeezing real tight. I give good hugs in real life. So I'm sorry I can't really hug y'all and I could use one too. But in the meantime, in between time, y'all know I will be back to do this all over again. I got to hit y'all with the episode number 3 since they already dropped. So I'm not too far behind with that one. But until then, y'all know what to do. Y'all stay up, y'all stay blessed, and I'm out. Peace.